tell you, I have been away. That is why this is late. Don't be too mad at me. We are back to our regularly scheduled program this week. What's up? How you doing, Ray of Sunshines? I am your girl, Talisa Ray, lifestyle coach. We are reviewing Married at First Sight, season number 12, episode number 6, Defending Your Wife. Listen, I had to get it together, okay? I had to pull it together, zhuzh up a little bit, honey, because Akila J came for me in my comments, talked about my lashes, my eyebrows, my hair, my lips, told me that I used to look well put together, and I don't know more. I said, wait a minute, hold on, homegirl. Let me show you something. I'm sorry that my natural beauty was a little underwhelming, but every now and again, I'll put some clothes on just for you. Okay, so if you're new here, listen, I go couple by couple, not scene by scene. This time it might be just a little tad like in disarray because, you know, they had a lot of group activities, right? Not all just couples. I'm gonna start off with Brian and Clara. Clara, does it Ryan? I think it's Ryan has mentioned that it feels like an incredible first date, you know, which is nice, you know. When you have those first dates and you have like good chemistry, it's an indicator of what your relationship could possibly look like. If you are on the same page, if their energy is right. I mean, I know y'all done met some people, because I know I done met some people that I'm all like, oh, okay, we're connected and I want to see what the next step looks like, or we can continue on this path. I'm gonna try not to make this as long as normal, but know that it's gonna be long. Pause it, come back, get you a snack, come back, listen to it while you're driving, whatever it is, just stay with it, okay? They talked about some stuff for school, her being in show choir because she likes a lot of attention, because she's a lot of personality, and then he was in the last year voted as class clown. I'm all like, really? Because he seems really reserved, but it's new, right? We're just getting to know him. We're still on the honeymoon. Clara shares that she seemed to like people who weren't into her, more of like the frat boys, you know, more a different F kind of boy, that she liked them, and kind of gives you the not knowing who you are, what you want, or understanding your value, and just dealing with some shit that you shouldn't. I mean, as an adult, some of us are still doing that. Now this is where it gets interesting, because she talks about how she had bad date after bad date after her breakup or whatever, and that she easily falls in love. Like, she's quickly very into somebody, romanticizes things. This is what I'm gathering from it, and that she falls in love all the time, because she is a free spirit and she's not afraid to love. Might make some wrong decisions, but honey, when Ryan says to her that he has never been in love, that he's never shared the L word, and it's because he feels like people throw it around too loosely. I mean, come on, Ryan, right after she said that she throws it around, that she's easily, you know, smitten by people and want to be, you want to tell her right away, like, oh, I think that that's stupid. This is your wife, and you need to be careful with the words that are coming out of your mouth. You'll know why I'm saying that in just a moment. So then, you know, they go and they have like a couple's date, which we'll come back to. So now we're talking after the couple's date, after the dinner, they get back to the hotel room or whatever, and you know, he says, how are you feeling? And she says, you know, I'm really thrilled that we don't have all that drama. You know, my friends say that I'm a little over the top, which we all have, you know, ascertained by now. Really feels like, you know, she got the best husband, right? And she felt like, you know, it's a little selfish. Girl, no, enjoy what feels good. It's not selfish. You worry about yourself though. That's why I see you learn that. If you didn't learn nothing else, you learn to mind your own business and worry about Ryan and Clara. And Ryan says, you know what, after what happened with the scenario at dinner and with the AV trip, he says, you know, I've learned that if people want my help, they will ask for it. If they want my advice, I will, and they ask for it, I will give it to them, because I do have my opinions, I just don't share them. And so listen, I don't want you to express yourself, right? I don't want you to not express yourself. That's the right verbiage. But you'll have to learn how to control what comes out of your mouth. Is that what he said? That's what he said. Like, don't just be throwing up, because she does. She said it herself, that she seemed to just say whatever's on her mind, and she feels like it's a bit of control that he has. Now, I want to know how you feel about it. I want to know, do you think that that's like a control mechanism, him telling her, you know, be careful what comes out of your mouth? Control what comes out of your mouth? She feels like he wants her to hush. I feel like he's just trying to help her evolve and be mindful of the things that you are saying. So just don't throw up. People who are passionate like that have a lot to say. Not always do you have to share it, because you can easily find yourself in the situation that Clara and Virginia found themselves in with Chris, which we'll get to. I don't know. I don't feel no kind of way about it. Y'all let me know down below in the comments if you felt like he was being controlling. Now, I do know that there are some things about her that he may not like. But I don't think in this instance that he was trying to control her. I think he was just trying to find a way to tell her to navigate her thoughts, right? Be careful. Now, I will talk about right now, because I think this is when it happened. It happened right after the girls and guys go and they sit and they talk separately. They have some conversation. The girls have drinks. The guys go and have crap lessons for the crap table. So Clara says in her confessional that she wasn't surprised by the baby news. She said she felt like Paige was detached from the group, which she did appear to be a little distant, a little like introverted compared to what we had seen her when they were hanging prior to being married. When Bree starts talking about Vincent, they ask how things are going. Somebody asked how things are going, and Bree says that Vince needs structure. I wrote down she's bossy, because Vincent said on the same, you know, talking to the fellas when they asked the same question, says that there can be an issue because she is bossy and a little controlling. I wrote down Erik is drunk. Before they even said it, you can say, and he's so lit from hanging with Virginia, and he's so smitten at this particular point. Like, I don't know, they might not be having sex, but they doing some grinding and some other stuff that are intimate related, right? I don't know, because he's saying that they weren't. But he says that there's no issue. Where Virginia, on the other hand, is saying, you know, that age is an issue. That the issues that they have are the age difference and her being slightly promiscuous, semi-promiscuity before, and how he's conservative and she has liberal views, and about the guy friends or whatever. And I think that it has a lot to do with age and a lot to do with how they live. And listen, being semi-promiscuous prior to being married, being promiscuous prior to being married, it's none of nobody's business. But I don't think that he should be holding anything that she's done in the past, pre-him, against her. Like, we all got a past. I know I got a past. I know, listen, I couldn't even share with my husband most of my past because he would be looking at me sideways. Like, I have a past. Know that there was things happening before you. Especially I got married at what, 34? I think 34. Anyway, let me keep going. We see like a little snippet of Clara and Virginia having a conversation. So is Clara the new advice guru? Like, is she the one giving people all the advice? Is she the new Amani? Couldn't think of her name. I mean, I don't think that she has enough experience or is, in my opinion, mature enough to be sharing advice with other people. But she gives her ways to, you know, handle Erik, because she was crying. Virginia was crying because of the whole guy friend thing, etc. you know, she was like, make him feel comfortable, let him meet him. Like, all of those things are true. But if he has some character flaws of his own that he needs to fix, none of that's gonna help. So you got to start with self, but you also do need to set boundaries. You do want to make your spouse as comfortable as you possibly can, but he also has to recognize that maybe, just quite possibly, he has an issue. Jake asks about biggest challenges. He said that his is gonna be that she's super social. Every 5 minutes she is on the phone, on FaceTime with her friends. It's a thing. It's a thing. Listen, and the transition from her being single and autonomous and independent that she keeps talking about is showing up. Clara, who is speaking on Ryan, says, you know, they see eye to eye on everything. I beg to differ. Yeah, I see differently. Kids, religion, that's gonna all be a problem for them. Ryan says the problem is that he's more reserved and she says whatever comes up out of her mouth. That is going to be a problem for him, and I guess he is trying his best to gently say, you know, just think about the things that you're saying before you say them. Just don't say whatever. Chris asks, always asking about intimacy. That's how you got in that problem, in that predicament in the first place. Sexual intimacy. Chris, slow down. Erik is drunk, says ain't nothing happening, but the chemistry is there, it's there. Jake is saying natural, and that they're gonna let things happen naturally, and they're not gonna talk about it until she feels it, like, you know, feels like it. Clara says Ryan wants to keep it private, but turns around and tells us that there's been some physical intimacy, so that ain't too private. Haley says she slept with Jake and that it was good. She's smiling and glowing and stuff. Oh, I wrote, she looks like she's uncomfortable and not really excited, but even though she said we're good. So they turn the question to Paige. She says that she's married and she wants to honor their marriage, but I'm all like, you don't even know him. What you honoring? You don't know nothing about him. It's not like you've been together for a year. They're gonna take it day by day, and I'm all like, well, it's been 4 or 5 days and these days don't look so good. Like, you are on an emotional roller coaster, but okay, girl. Virginia here, she's expressing herself about her concerns about the new baby and the baby mama. I wrote that she's not a Chris fan and that Paige deserves better. Clara says to her, you're a better woman than me. Now, y'all know what that means. You're a better woman than me means you stupid. Ooh, but girl, you better than me. When the conversation gets to Chris, he says, you know, we're working through it. Erik, you need to man up. You need to go ahead. And, you know, he's drunk, sloppy drunk. And the thing I know is that we communicate differently culturally. So for Chris, he felt like it was like, what you trying to say that I haven't? I have manned up by sharing that I have a baby on the way. I could have not said anything. Like, right now, we only been together for 4 days, and I told her. So that is me manning up and owning my shit and being accountable of what happened. Now, you know how we feel. We feel differently. I'm gonna talk Brianna and Vince, okay? So Brent says that he is noticing that she is a handful and that she needs to be patient. I mean, the soap drops, we need to use another one. Y'all, when y'all drop the soap, do y'all use another one or do you just rinse it out because it's soap? Y'all let me know, because maybe I'm weird. And we're going to open up a new one. And he did leave it on the floor, and she's all like, still pick it up though. Like, I can see where this is going to be a little bit of an issue. When they get in the bed, Bree asks him, have I annoyed you yet? He avoids it and says, next question. But she tells him that he doesn't pay attention, right? That he doesn't pay attention, like he doesn't listen or whatever. And she tells him that she was annoyed by him today. Not how, like what he did. Like, we didn't see, maybe that was the conversation that was had. But I also felt like the choice of words, I was annoyed by you, is very triggering. You know, there's some things that, you know, rub me the wrong way, or there's some, not even rub me the wrong, there's some things that, you know, could present a problem, or this is what happened today. Find a different way instead of talking about you was annoyed. I'm telling you ladies now, while you talking to you, if you, especially new budding relationships, you ain't gonna be like, so you annoyed me. Like, I've been with you for 5 years. I could be like, so listen, you annoyed me, this is what you did. But they know by then, this is a new marriage and you want to convey how you feel, but you don't want it to cause any angst or any issues, because you saw that on Vince's face. At least I did. Y'all go back and rewind it. Y'all let me know. I wrote down that he needs to communicate to her the things that are bothering him, because he says that there are some. He hints to it, but does not say anything on the camera. And maybe it's because, you know, embarrassment and whatnot. Like, he doesn't want to put their business out or embarrass her. Because the next day, when they go indoor skydiving, he says, I talked to her about her assertiveness being perceived as disrespect to me. And I don't think it's the assertiveness may have been the wrong word, but nevertheless, he told her he didn't like it. It was a conversation that they had. You know, after the skydiving adventures, they talk about, you know, how, you know, these are things that they like, that they can still have fun and be adventurous together. I mean, to me, that's huge. Like, this part of my life, I feel like the first half of my life, I did not do all the good, fun stuff that I want to do. And this go round, I want to do all the stuff. I want to say yes to all the stuff that makes sense to my spirit, right? Anyway, he asked her if she, you know, how she felt about last night's conversation, and she says that she was uncomfortable. That or was that during the confessional? Whichever way, she said it was uncomfortable. That he shared he didn't like to be rushed, you know, because she had mentioned that it takes, you know, something to timid, like he on his phone and stuff, and he needs to be getting dressed, and she calling his name, Vincent, annoyed, because he could have been like, that bothers me, which he did say, right? Anyway, she felt like it was him she translated it into him thinking that she was rude, when that wasn't the case. But I do like that she was like, you know, that's not who I want to be. Realizes that she can be bossy, doesn't want him to see her that way, and that she was reflective and accountable for her actions, and said she's going to work on it, because that's not what she wants for her marriage. And she wants him to be able to have honest, open, vulnerable conversations so that you can grow. Let me see. She was like, I don't want you to blow up on me or nothing. He was like, yeah, I don't want to blow up on you. And you can tell that that's something that he had previously done, like in other relationships. Like, baby, listen. Okay, let's run through Haley and Jacob real quick, and then I'm going to talk about the ATV date, right? So they're sitting in there. Now they didn't have sex, and I wrote down, still after sex, there is no chemistry that you can see on the screen. However, I am going to say that I saw, like, Jacob was really trying to make a gallant effort. Like, he was really asking questions and really wanting them to get on the same page. That ain't happened though. Haley constantly reminds him about her autonomy and independence, and that she's not clingy. And I think sometimes when they do those pauses, the producers and the editors and shit, when they do those pauses, they add that. That ain't always how it is. You know what I'm saying? Jacob says, you know, I want you to open up. That he feels that she's closed off and she's not affectionate, and he can't read her. And I wrote down, I'm proud of him for sharing how he feels, because we see that he's different, right? We see that he's quirky, but he likes her and he really wants to try and make it work. He don't want to be 40 and never married. I wrote down, she's stone-faced and standoffish. He says that she's guarded. I also wrote that he said he wasn't expecting the continuance of this standoffish behavior after their intimate moment, because she don't like him. Y'all listen, y'all know what it is. Let me say it now. Ladies, we know that if it's good, we do make a more concerted effort to get to know them, to be around them. Not always, but it is definitely a different energy. I feel like she said that she enjoyed it and it was good, but that was a lie. It was probably like a robot. It was probably, you know, it was probably not passionate enough, because they had a couple drinks, and then that's what happened. One thing led to another, and it's my husband, that's what she said. So you have that. But I'm all like, it don't always make you close. You saw that with Chris when he said that disrespectful shit to Paige, and now you see it with Haley and Jacob. It does not always bring you together, and you also have to remember that the others are more into casual sex than we as black people are. So I say, if you disagree with me, do that down below in the comments. After dinner, they have a conversation. He says that he doesn't know how to read her, and she keeps giving generalizations like, you know, something is missing, I need more time. Well, what is the something that's missing? And she can't articulate what it is. I just don't like you. And you don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, right? You know, she feels like he wants her to just be lovey-dovey and holding hands and stuff. And that's not who she is. You know, she's been by herself for 7 years. But she's been screwing in that 7 years. She just ain't been in a relationship. She's been moving about how she wants to, doing the things that she wants to do when she sees fit. And so I guess what she's saying is that it's uncomfortable for her to have somebody, and now I have to consider this person all the time. But again, give him credit where credit is due. He is clear, because he says that she is guarded and not receptive. And something changed. He asked. He know what it is. He was like, the first couple days we were fine, and then all of a sudden something changed. She should have said, I didn't like our intimate moment. I want you to do something different. Again, here's where lack of experience comes in on her part on how to share, or being lack of emotional connection, being able to share, like, this is what I want you to do. This is what I need from you. Anyway, he also says to her, I feel like the piece that's missing is that you've checked out. Ding, 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 ding. And that the current formula that they have is not a path to success. He is actually vocalizing his thoughts and opinions very logically, very rationally. Listen, y'all can say anything you want about him being quirky, but he is definitely understands the importance of communicating so far. Haley says it is too much for her, and I wrote down, and she shouldn't have signed up for this. So all that 7-year autonomy she keep talking about, she shouldn't have signed up. This isn't the game that she should have played. Later, Jake says that Haley said she was going to hang out with the girls. It was a girls' night. He was like, cool, bet, go enjoy yourself. He goes downstairs to get some food, and baby, let me tell you, he said he saw all the husbands and all the couples and Haley. Probably not Chris and Paige, or, you know, but they ran off to the side, like they saw him, like kids, like they saw him, and like kids ran off, like, the fact of the matter, he said, is she didn't want me there. Call a spade, and he was like, it's awkward, and it's something that we're gonna have to address. I appreciate his maturity. I appreciate him sitting and talking to her about how he feels and the things that he wants. I appreciate that. For her not to be able to express herself is just ridiculous to me. Okay, so let's talk about the ATV incident. And then we'll talk about Erik and Virginia and Paige and Chris. Y'all okay with that? Hopefully. Okay, so listen. Paige and Chris, Ryan and Clara, Virginia and Erik go ATVing as a group date. They seemed like they had an enjoyable time till they stopped to get off to, you know, to have a little conversation. Clara and Virginia decide they want to have a conversation with Chris. And I'm at that point right there, I'm thinking, for why? Why do you want to have a conversation with this man? Y'all see his energy. Y'all can't handle that energy. Y'all gonna be crying it in your feelings. I'm saying that before they even start, and Clara asks how Chris and Paige are doing. Listen, did the man say, mind your business? Mind your business. Starts off fine, right? And then you add insult to injury by saying, you know, if it was one of us, I don't know which one of them said it, we wouldn't be with you. We would have left right after you said you had a baby on the way. So number one, you're telling him how you feel about the situation, and number two, you're saying your homegirl Paige is stupid for staying. Okay, let's keep it a band. Telling him what you ain't gonna do tells him and Paige, who can clearly hear what's going on, that you think I'm stupid. Hold on. I wrote down they felt it was necessary to share how they feel, and they say how, you know, we are here to support Paige. Like, we don't really give a fuck about you and what's going on with you. Paige is a good girl. We're here to support her. Clara opens her mouth and throws up and says that Paige is different. Her energy is different. And so we're here to support her. You know, I'm all like, this is not going to fare well at all for anybody at this point, because this is a conversation that y'all don't need to be having. Y'all need to be minding your own business. Y'all don't need to be talking to this man about his wife. If the wife is your friend, then have the conversation with the wife. Be concerned with the wife. Mind your business. Like, I'm literally like, okay, because you don't know him well enough. So if y'all had known each other and had hung out for a little while and this was going on, then maybe you could share if he asked, but I don't think that he asked. I don't think that he cares what you think. He's got too much shit. Listen, recipe for disaster is this right here. These two white girls talking to this black man about his relationship with his black wife and the ex-fiance who has a baby on the way. Like, what? Chris shares, I don't like, you know, the fake concern that you or your husband is having. And I feel like that was more for Virginia than it was for Clara, considering the night before in the lounge. I wrote down here, Virginia is overstepping her boundaries. While, you know, Clara, when he says, listen, I asked y'all to respect my privacy. It's my wife. It's between me and my wife. She said, okay. Like, bet. Not Virginia, honey. Virginia, honey, for some reason feels like she needs to tell him that he needs to go above and beyond with her, you know, and to show how much he cares for her and that he loves her and all this stuff. Girl, hush up. Shh. It is not your place to share what you think. He ain't asked. He ain't asked. This is one of those things that sometimes you just need to listen. Sometimes if you want to show your support or that you care for your friend, ask how somebody is feeling and let them talk. If they're not asking for your advice, don't give it. Don't give it. Or preface it with, would you like me to share my opinion? He didn't want your opinion, Virginia. I wrote down, she found it necessary to antagonize him, to keep going. So you think that you're going above and beyond because you shared that you had a baby on the way? They don't know each other. They don't know each other from Adam, but he does probably do need to make her more comfortable, especially since she's gonna stay in the shit. The fact of the matter is, quit saying it. You see him getting visibly upset. He says, I don't owe anybody an explanation, which is true. The only person he owes an explanation to, I don't owe y'all an explanation. The only person he owes an explanation to is to Paige. And at this point, I'm all like, he should bow out gracefully and not even have these conversations. It should be like, thank you for your concern. The end. Walk away. Don't even stand there and let them continue and say, I care about Paige, etc. At this particular point, you're also setting yourself up, right? By engaging in the conversations that you don't want to have, Chris. She calls him arrogant. He calls her a drunkard. Tit for tat. You gonna throw shots? I'm gonna throw shots. I'm all like, And she looked like a drunk. I mean, he arrogant and she, listen, they both calling each other what it is. Facts. Clara's confessional, she's like, I don't understand why she would continue to be this vocal. I wrote down, Clara, you're right, don't poke the bear, but you started with her. And I get that the producers kind of play shit out, have people get together and have them ask questions, but as a person with her own thoughts and minds, I always say, we have the option to choose whether or not we are going to continue in conversations that are unhealthy, that are toxic. Are we going to participate in things that they tell us to do? If it does not feel right, you can decline. I ain't declining the show, but I'm declining to be part of this tomfoolery. I wrote down that Virginia felt like her line of questioning and her behavior was okay, but, and this is when I wrote down, if someone tells you to back off, back the fuck off. I'm a firm believer of respecting what people say. If somebody says to me, I don't want your opinion, leave me alone, stop, I'm doing fine, and you can see that they're not, leave them, hear what they're saying and leave them alone. Allow people to process shit the way that they want to. Okay, back up. I wrote down now it is uncomfortable for Paige, because you're coming over and you and Clara are deciding to say, you know, this is what we were doing, we're here to support you, etc., etc. Girl, her husband is right in earshot. He comes over and said, you still ain't minding your own business. You're talking to my wife, and now I'm interjected. You're talking to my wife. She's our friend. Y'all, she's our friend. He said, y'all ain't friends? You don't even know her, is pretty much what he was saying. So hold up. You don't know nothing about her except for what you've learned in the last 2 weeks, which really wasn't much. Because you wouldn't have expected her to deal with this shit. At least this is wasn't what I would have thought from the Paige that we met in the beginning. But then again, maybe with the whole God ordained this situation shit. Now he's just irritated and he's just poking the bear himself. When he gets in the car, he already says, you know, I'm just gonna keep going. Instead of getting in the car and having a silent ride, he has to tell Virginia, I don't give a fuck about you, I don't care about you. All of that, Chris, was unnecessary. Get in the car. You told them to leave you alone, to mind your business, but instead you go to level 2000 on these people that you know ain't really about that life, which kind of tells me that neither are you, because you're picking on people who are not going to get up and get in your face and all of that. Because I guarantee if it was Vince, you wouldn't have been doing all that. None of that would have been happening. But I do feel like the ladies should have minded their own business, and any questions that they had, those conversations should have been had with their friend. Let's talk Virginia and Erik, shall we? In Erik's confessional, he says, she drinks more than me. No shit, but you over here trying to drink Fireballs and Casadores and Coors tall cans with her like you can hang. It's inevitable that you are going to be shit-faced. She's not. This is what she do. She looked like one of them people that drink all the time. So as they're sitting there, he says that there are some deal breakers on partying. She says she parties Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with her friends. That's a whole lot of drinking. How's your liver doing? Are you doing a liver cleanse? You know, hot sauce, lemon, and is it hot sauce, lemon, and apple cider vinegar? I saw it on Dr. Oz. Are you doing that every day? Because baby, you need it the way you are drinking at 26 years old. Ain't she 26? 26. All I keep hearing out of her mouth is that this is her lifestyle. The lifestyle of me and my friends. And I want you to be a part of it. This is my lifestyle with my friends, and I want you to be a part of it. So then you're not ready to have a husband because you're saying that you aren't going to make any concessions for your husband. You aren't going to compromise. You just want him to come along and get shit-faced with y'all, or stand there and look at y'all in disgust, because that's not what he does. In addition, he was like, you know, this isn't for me. This isn't what I do. I value my career, and this is something I cannot do. Bet. I agree. Like, as a pilot, even right now, your pilot friends at the airline you work at is looking at you like, yo, you was on here doing this? Yo. I wrote down at some point she's going to have to mature and know how to make adjustments. But she's not ready to be married. And also him trying to control her based on, you know, he says he's not going to bring in his previous marriage or whatever, but that's a lie. Like, because you know what it is that you want and what you don't want. And they need to really set some clear boundaries and expectations. All of these couples need to do that, and they need to do it quickly. Oh, look, I was just going off the rip on what I remembered, and I wrote down that he's been married and he does understand boundaries and expectations and communication. But he has to allow her to have autonomy and to be free to make decisions for herself. And if those decisions do not align with what he wants in a marriage, then they both have the opportunity to walk away. Here's the problem with getting married at first sight to a stranger you know nothing about. You know, that's why before people get married, they date for a long time and they learn one another and they cultivate it. You kind of go within yourself and you learn what you want and what you can deal with and what are deal breakers and what are just things that I can handle because, yeah, he leaves his socks right here. But is that a deal breaker? No, because he could, you know, learn to pick up his socks when you know, like things like that. So, I don't know. Let's talk about Chris and Paige. Though I'm tired of talking about Chris and Paige, let's talk about Chris and Paige. Like, it's gonna be, I feel like, the same thing over and over again. So let's just talk about what it is that we know happened on the show, okay? Because we also know what's happening right now in real life now that the show is aired, okay? Let's just have the conversation, shall we? So they're in the room and he tells her, you know, I want you to know that you're handling all of this with grace and it does not go unnoticed. Paige talks about wanting to be, you know, liked or loved or whatever, and then starts talking about Bentley and her love for Bentley. Y'all know pet parents, honey. Y'all know, if y'all know anything about a pet parent, y'all know that they're crazy about their pets. My cousin is crazy about little Stewie, okay? Like, and she's offended that he is not receptive into taking care of Bentley and being in wholeheartedly with Bentley like she is on being a stepmom. You already know that he is selfish. If you are blind to that, Paige, that even makes you look more silly. He is very much so self-centered, so he don't care about Bentley. And some people don't see pets as such a priority, right? But pet parents, this is a big deal for her. This is a big deal. And it should be a deal breaker. I mean, for my cousin, if this was her, deal breaker. Deal breaker. And they start talking about moving in when we get home, blah, blah, blah. He asked her, what are you bringing? He said, she said, I'm going to bring my clothes and I'm going to bring the gifts that my family gave us. His family didn't get no gifts. Anyway, it was a sidebar. But he's ignorant. Because he says, well, if there's some money in there, we're going to split it 50-50. Paige, how many more ways do you need to know that he is not as committed to this as you are? Because she's all like, what? 50-50? You're forgetting that we're married. In his eyes, you guys are just dating and that you're just some random chick. Then the conversation comes up about joint accounts. I believe he brings it up after he insults her because she says, you know, I make a third of what you make, and he's all like a quarter. So they talk about joint accounts and she says, I believe we should have a joint account. We'll have to figure it out because I make a third of what you make, a quarter, so we'll have to figure it out for household, etc., etc. He says, I don't believe in joint accounts. I'll give you whatever you need, but I don't believe in joint accounts. I don't know how y'all feel about that, okay? Here's my stance on joint accounts. I think that there should always be a house account. There should be a joint account for household stuff. Now, you do have to figure out what's fair considering how much money each person makes, but you have to come up to some agreement. But of course, there is a personal account for yourself to do what you want, where the rest of his baller money can go so that she don't know how much money he has or where he's spending his money or whatever. But I feel like a house account is a house account. He says, I'll give you whatever, you know, you need, etc. In my mind, I'm all like, then just give her the money to put in the house account. That's what that is. Say that this is the amount that I'm contributing to the house. You're doing the same thing, you idiot. But that's just my opinion. I think some of y'all don't believe in joint accounts either. Y'all let me know down below in the comments how you feel about shared accounts. I didn't have one with my husband though. But there's that. So the next day after the dinner and all that stuff, all the blow up and all of that from the ATV and all that stuff, they're packing. And, you know, she asked him, well, where do you see that relationship going? Because they have not had a conversation about Mercedes and the impending baby. He said he's taking it day by day and he doesn't know how to proceed. You know, he's concerned about raising a child in separate homes. It's a valid concern. Paige asks him, would you want to get back with her? And he says conversations have been had about what parenting together looks like, including us getting back together. Hello? Hello, Paige? Hello? Are you there? Hello, Paige? Are you really shocked at what he had to say? He piggybacks behind that and says, I still love her. But that does not mean that we are meant to be together. Of course he still loves her. It's only been a few months. It's only been, what was it, May is what we said they had broke up? And in August he got married to Paige? Like, it's only been a few months. So what? Yes, he still loves her if he ever did, right? He said, I'm processing it. You know, I don't want another man raising my child. At that point, Paige feels like she was spit in the face. Like she had to get up. I thought, oh, the girl is done. Okay. You know, married to me and having conversations with Mercedes, with his ex. And I'm saying to myself, when are you having these conversations? We're on our honeymoon. So you texting, because they did show us a bit of him texting. Is that what you've been doing this whole time? You've been texting and talking to Mercedes about the baby that she just, you didn't say, you know what, I'll be back in Atlanta and we can address it then. Let's have a conversation then. Let me process this. You didn't say that? Oh, okay, sir. So she goes off, Paige, and you know, tries to get herself together a little bit, comes back and, you know, wants to be a little bit gangster. She says she's frustrated and needs clarity on what the fuck is going on, because I can't do it. Chris says conversations have been had, but there's been nothing definitive. Again, you having whole conversations on our honeymoon, yo. They go back and forth and he's like, you know, I'm not withholding any information from you. And you ain't asked me nothing. You ain't asked me nothing. In that same breath though, Chris, you ain't shared. So my question is, how much of this was her responsibility to ask him? I mean, and how much of it was for him to share? I feel like if he wasn't sharing, she was supposed to ask all the questions. The moment she found out about what was happening, it was important for her to start asking the questions. Again, she didn't even know the girl was 6 weeks. You have to have the uncomfortable conversation so you know what direction that you are headed. You cannot just be like, oh, this is ordained by God, girl. You got to say, let's talk about it. How did you feel about it? What direction? She should have said, do you want to be with her? Like, if you felt like this is somewhere you wanted to go, you can't go by all the fluffy stuff that he tells you that sounds good, that makes you think that he might have a little bit of common sense. You can't go by that. You got to go by the questions that you ask him. And you have to ask him sitting down, face to face, all at once. If you need some help, write that shit down. I wrote down, and then she has the nerve to go back on her, I can't do it, to I want to be in it and I care about you. You care about him because of the love of God, or you care about him because you know him? Because it's a different thing. I can want the best for you, but not be with you. Because that would be, like I said, I would say you have some unfinished business that you need to tend to. I'm going to bow out gracefully. I want the best for you and your new baby and you know, and for me. I'm going to bow out gracefully, and right now, because I'm not looking so graceful, I'm looking real idiotic. I'm out here embarrassing myself more than you're embarrassing me, sir. So then he fluffs her up, honey, and says he sees her in a different light. He's now spiritually attracted to her, and she's eating it up. She says, I pray Chris is my person for the rest of my life. Okay, girl. This is the last scene. I know we done been on here for an hour. I'm sorry, but not really. I be having a lot to say. I realize if I would just say what the scenes were, we'd be finished. But I'm not. I have to interject my opinion. Okay, so let's talk about this dinner, this final dinner before they go back to normal life as married couples and move into the communal property. Maybe that's the wrong word, but the apartment building that everybody lives in, right? Okay, so I thought everybody looked gorgeous, beautiful, handsome. Love that gold yellow on Paige. She stood out quite a bit to me. So I don't know. I think it was Ryan had said something about moving, going back or whatever, but who cares, right? So then it goes to Paige, and she starts to speak. She says, all of you have been very open and honest and supportive, and I just want to show my appreciation to ease the group, you know, just to show, like, you know, that she hears them and that she sees him. And I'm thinking to myself, so you finna do all the talking? Because he been a I'm an act the ass the whole time, right? But then Chris, he opens up his mouth and he says, you know what, I'm frustrated and my behavior the last few days hasn't been appropriate. It's like an open, fresh wound, which is true. Like, I just learned about this, and all y'all doing is throwing more salt, more salt. Even though I don't like my wife, I'm trying to stick in this thing, and y'all ain't doing nothing but causing more insult to injury. I wrote down, he gives glimpses of admirable qualities. But then I'm all like, you're an asshole, right? Because after this is when he started talking about communicating with his ex-fiance about the baby. And if y'all had caught it, he did a slip up when he said my fiance, and then said something my ex. Like, he did a slip of a tongue, which in his mind, maybe, you know, it was still fresh. He also said, you know, he called his grandparents, his grandmother, you know, so she could pray over him. And the grandmother said, you have a God-fearing woman there. Ask her to read scripture over you and to pray over you. And she did. And that is where the new light, the new spiritual attractiveness that Paige has, or that Chris has for Paige, stems from. Because, you know, she prayed for her husband and what was going on in his head. Then he looks at her and he publicly apologizes to her and says, you know, that she's been gracious. And then he says all this like nice stuff about her, you know, and I'm all like, again, he shows glimpses of having good character, but then he doesn't. He then looks at Ryan and Clara and apologizes for the disrespect that he had towards Clara and for Ryan, for his wife, right? Now, I didn't realize that Erica, Jesus, probably right. That's probably right. He's probably an Erica. But Erik and Virginia weren't at the table. True to form, they are late. And I kind of feel like it's a bit of a setup, right? They might have been on time. I kind of feel like maybe the producers are like, hang back just a little bit. Like, everything, you know, has like some weaving. It's not always naturally occurring like we think it is. So then they sit down, honey. Now, I'm one of them people that feels like you need to read the room. Sit down, order your food, see where things are going. Don't come in sitting down, because it did seem very aggressive when he sat down and went right in, because he needed to have a conversation about Chris. I mean, he needed to have a conversation to Chris about what occurred the previous day. He tells him, you know what, I didn't appreciate how the conversation went with Virginia. I didn't like how you talked to her. It was scary. It was disrespectful. And in order to talk to her now, you know what, just talk to me only. You could talk through me. You don't have nothing else to say to my fragile wife over here with the big ass mouth, who thinks she can say whatever she wants to whomever she wants and not consider what effect it might have or what a person is going through. Because I think that they were both wrong in the instance. I didn't say anything about that, but I do. Let me see. You can see that things are getting heated up, and you see Ryan interjecting because Chris is about to respond, and Ryan's all like, wait a minute, you just came in, and he just apologized to the table about his behavior. But Chris is all like, oh, no, sir, express yourself. No. Let him express himself. Let him say what it is he gonna say. And evidently, it was a lot more charged than we probably recognized, because even Vincent and Brianna thought it was a little charged, because Chris starts to reiterate, you know, how your wife needs to mind her business. I asked y'all, you know, to let me have my privacy. Erik doesn't want to hear about what Chris has to say, you know. He decides, you know what, I'm done. Dinner is over. I'm going to vacate dinner. it's cool. We don't even need to have a conversation. So you were able, Erik, to provide your opinion, give your thoughts, but you didn't allow Chris to share his. And it was a little aggressive, right? It was probably off the heels of talking to his wife, who was drunk and probably in her feelings about what was said. Like, I get it, right? I get it. But we know you're not about that life. Because if you were, you would have handled it on the van. And so much so that I guess Chris was feeling attacked and he got up. It just whatever. It's what you want to do. And I'm all like, I don't think he wanted to do that, Chris. I don't think that he has that in him. Like, there are some white boys that are with the shit, but I don't think it's him. And Vince gets up and stops him and pushes him out the door and tries to help him cool off. I mean, it becomes this big spectacle that I feel like it didn't need to be. It went to a place that was unnecessary. And then you see Virginia and Erik walking away like, oh, he thought that was an apology. I didn't think that was cool. That was an apology. You know, she thought, thank you for defending me. And I'm all like, listen, you didn't let him get to an apology. Even if it was disingenuous, you didn't let him get to a place where he could apologize to you for what he did. I mean, and that's the thing. You have to give an opportunity. You did come like, listen, this is what it is. And I'm sure Virginia could appreciate him standing up for her, right? I'm sure. But read the room, right? You forget Ryan and Clara were there too, even though he really don't fuck with you, with Erik and Virginia, right? You read the room. You order your drinks, you know. You don't come in saying, I need a shot because I had a rough day. You want a shot too, Paige? You are, again, poking the bear. You don't poke the bear unless you want it to attack. And that is exactly what occurred. It was something that Virginia and Erik had said. Oh, Erik and Virginia were saying that, you know, he needed an outlet and that they're his punching bags. And they're just not gonna, they're not gonna be bothered. Erik is not gonna be bothered with him. If Virginia wants to be friends with Paige, then so be it. Virginia's not gonna be able to be friends with Paige and not poke the bear that is her husband, Chris. I don't know, y'all. Listen, y'all let me know what y'all think about this episode down below in the comments. I feel like it is a full shit storm. I feel like it is a full shit storm. It is full of fuckery, and that all of them have issues, and Brianna and Vince may work theirs out, right? You got Clara and Ryan and the love situation. Of course, you got Jacob and Haley. You know, Haley don't want to be there. Jacob want to try. You've got the drunks, the drunk and the control and jealous man, Erik and Virginia. Like, none of these couples seem to be successful. We are about to really see how well they mesh or not, because they're going home and they moving in together, right? It's really about real personalities, being around somebody and your day-to-day activities, etc. is about to show up. So we're gonna have to see how this plays out, even though we know how it plays out for some people already. Let me just update you a little bit. I missed this last Sunday on Little BlackBook91's channel. I am going to be part of the Married at First Sight review panel on Sundays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Little BlackBook91's channel. Y'all come over there if y'all don't watch already. Go ahead and go over there. Click your notifications so that you can come and talk and be part of the conversation. It will be Little Black Book, me, Stephanie Lee, Jack and Glenn, August Love. I think that's their names. Those are the only people that I'm unfamiliar with, but I'm gonna have to go check them out now that I'm home and back in the swing of things. If it's your first time visiting my channel, click the subscribe button to become a ray of sunshine. Click the notification bell and be alerted of when I upload new videos. Like this video because you like me, and so that the algorithms know what's up, what's up, what's up. As well as share it with your people. Share it on Twitter, on Instagram, wherever you are, you live with your friends, in text groups. I don't care where you share it, just share it. I love you in real life and want every good thing that God has in store for you, even if you don't know what that is for yourself. Hugs and kisses and lots of love. I'll catch you on the next review.